What's up, y'all? Y'all see me? I can't see anything on the screen. This sun's glaring right in the way. Anyway, I'm down here. This is South Padre, Ireland. This is what's this place called? Isla Blanca Park. Right behind me. I don't know if you can see that with this camera resolution. I can't see anything on the screen. That's a Starship, serial number 9. They just did a test fire. Should do a launch in the next couple days. I'm just sitting out here. I came out here to check out the little test fire. But man, like I've been seeing a lot of stuff politically on the internet. Um, I guess I'll start by saying like socially, I'm pretty much oh really? I guess politically, I'm like a libertarian type dude. Anyway, I pretty much think people should do whatever they want as long as it's not crazy and dangerous. You know what I mean? Like I don't care at all. Like I really just don't. I mean, there is like a personal responsibility with like I guess like influence over like young children and stuff like that. I think like there's basic decency that people should follow, and I'm gonna be a personal advocate of that. But I'm not gonna say it's like should be illegal. I think when certain lines are drawn politically, they they don't work out how they might, you know, as people might hope. Like there's usually when you go to court over some like penal code infraction, it's like, oh well, very specifically the law says this, and here's how we wiggle our way around that. And it's just like, and sometimes like you did something that's really kind of innocent, and then like, but you just happen to somehow like break the code, and people get put in jail for bullshit, and people will stay out of jail when they did bullshit. And so all that codifying shit really don't work. It's just common sense. Be cool, be real, don't be stupid, be a decent person, like common sense shit. And I believe in that common sense type of like, like holding people accountable type shit. Like, we're tribal people. Once upon a time, all we had was tribes. There was no government, nothing like that, and it was just accountability within that tribe. If somebody's acting stupid, sit them the fuck. The tribe would sit them the fuck down and say, all right, straighten that shit out or get the fuck out. Like whatever. I believe in that shit. I think that's like basic. That's human nature. So it's decency, whatever. I really don't believe in codifying a lot of stuff. But what I see a lot of is a lot of young people that I feel like are impressionable, and I feel like have really been kind of bombarded with like what you might call like propaganda, and even just like maybe like indoctrinated with public schooling and stuff like that. And I feel like those young impressionable kids have been like taught a certain idea, taught certain ideas actually. And I feel like they, to some degree, are vulnerable to bad ideas. You know what I mean? And these bad ideas include codifying a lot of stuff and mandating that people act this way or that way. It's just that's not where it's at for a lot of stuff, especially social stuff. That should be done on a lower level. Really, the law, and a lot of times, it gets in the way of, natural checks and balances. Like sometimes maybe somebody deserves to get punched. You know what I mean? And if that person deserves it, but they didn't like punch you first, or something like that, or threaten your life, or blah blah blah, and you punch them without any like legal reason to, you'll get in trouble. Even if they deserved it and it, and like everybody knows it. Everybody in the world can know it. But that's why we have trial by jury. And the jury is supposed to use common sense, but sometimes they don't. They go very specifically by the penal code. They should use common sense and say, look, that guy deserved it. He got punched for a reason, for a good reason. And they really, you punching a person sometimes is solving a problem. So it's like, a lot of people, that's another thing. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people don't believe in, or they say like violence is not the answer. If there's somebody that's like threatening your life, for instance, and they're trying to murder you or your child or something, yeah, violence is the answer. You got to stop that person. It's a physical situation. It's a situation. It's a physical situation. You're not gonna. I mean, you could try to talk them down, but if it's crazy, it's crazy, man. I think a lot. I mean, there's a time and a place. It's like a cat. You ever seen a cat, like if some stupid dog wanders up to him, he just like swipes him a little bit? No harm done. He just taught him a lesson. Get out of my face. Don't do that anymore. You know, it's teaching through physicality. I don't agree with just like, I've seen some parents that are like overly disciplinary to their kids, and I think those kids get really messed up because of that, and they're like afraid to like do anything in life anymore. It's like, dude, that's really, I'm the opposite. I'm like like I said, like a libertarian. If I see that, I'm like, hold up, like y'all gotta stop. you know, I guess you could say force is necessary sometimes. I'm not gonna say violence necessarily. But yeah, I see a lot of these young kids that I think are very impressionable, and I think they have like these false ideals of how the world can be without understanding how the world actually functions. It's like they're hoping like everybody's nice and does this and that, but it's like everybody's not nice. A lot of people are really fucked. Street smarts will teach you that. And I think a lot of these young kids are kind of relatively sheltered, and they think all this stuff can work because they haven't experienced what a lot of people are like. And I kind of grew up I was like between worlds in my life. Like I kind of grew up in the suburbs. Actually, I started really young, like trailer park. Went to a hotel. We got kicked out of there because my dad started doing drugs and stuff. And then he left us at a hotel. Then I moved with my stepdad to the suburbs, and I stayed there for probably like 8 years old till like when I was like 18. Then I moved back to another apartment complex where it's kind of like ghetto, you know. But even during that whole time, I'm going to my friends' houses who lived over here, then to other friends' houses who lived over here, like poor people, rich people, you know, like I've seen it all. So I've seen a lot of that everywhere. You know, a lot of people don't have that opportunity, I guess. You know, I was kind of I don't know, I just got around a lot. But I think it's that naivety because a lot of people are sheltered that leads to them, you know, feeling like certain crazy, like they're just not realistic. Non-realistic ideas of everybody just being nice. It's not how a lot of people are really fucked, and they really need to be dealt with appropriately. Like for instance, in nature, I don't know how much time I have on this video, so it might cut out randomly, but in nature, you know, there's a food chain, you know, and like for instance, there's little innocent animals, herbivores, right? And they eat plants. And these plant-eating animals, I'm sure they wish all the other animals ate plants, and that's it. But no, some of them are carnivores, and that's just nature. Literally, like, their bodies don't digest plants like some of these herbivores, so they have to eat meat to survive. So they're gonna do what they got to do. And I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world in that way, a little bit. There's a food chain. It's literally the way nature is like, and like despite what you hope and dream people could be like, there is what it is. And I feel like there's a lot of naivety in that way. And a lot of these naive young kids, you know, they're thinking, let's just do this and it's gonna all work out. But really what you're doing is kind of, you're just imposing these things that are just really, it's not gonna help this. And then it's idealism, that unrealistic idealism. And you're trying to enforce it through law, but what you're really doing is you're clamping down with all these arbitrary laws that aren't even good. Like I said, like, you know, when they're codified, they don't get enforced properly. And then what happens is it just gets taken advantage of, it gets exploited. And then this is still fucked, maybe even more fucked now because of so much bullshit over here. It's just, it becomes a whole fuck situation. And I think the more people understand that, like, you need to understand reality to have realistic ideals. You can't be a sheltered, naive person not understanding how this over here reality works and then try to impose something upon something you don't even understand. It's like not understanding how a car works and saying, hey, maybe if we just, you know, pull this thing over here and do this and it'll work. It's like, if you don't understand what you're doing, how it actually works, and there's no way that you can come up with a proper solution to fix what it actually is. And that's the problem. And I've seen too much, like a lot of that. And I think these young kids, like I said, a lot of them are sheltered, and it's this unrealistic idealism. And they need to study and understand before they try to get some criticism on something. It's like, you should not open your mouth about how to fix a car unless you know how a car works. And you actually have some insight, like real understanding how that works. Um, I just see a lot of people with this, like I said, this freaking unrealistic idealism. A lot of people saying, "Oh, well, this is how it should be." Everybody, and it's just y'all are naive, bro. Like not seeing reality. Um, and then they're I feel well, truly, a term I've heard used is useful idiots. And I think intentionally these kids have been kind of indoctrinated with propaganda and all types of stuff, and they're naive and they don't know any better, so they're getting dragged along with these unrealistic ideals and supporting all these like political movements and stuff, and before they know it, they're gonna have trapped themselves, dug their own graves with all these freaking laws and crap, trying to say this should be like this and that should be like that, and this shit ain't gonna be fixed, and they're gonna be like, oh, like it's terrible. I'm kind of like a minimalist with most things, including laws. like what did Elon Musk say? He said, no steps is the best steps. Is the best step. No step is the best step. If you can eliminate as much extra drama as possible, make stuff as simple as possible, the less, that can go wrong, the simpler stuff gets, the easier stuff runs, smooth. I'm a believer in that. I love simplified stuff. And I think really the better you understand something, the more you can see where you can optimize it. You know what I mean? If you don't understand it, how can you possibly give some criticism to optimize it? It's like you don't have any insight. How can you possibly? It just doesn't make sense. But I guess that's a general principle. I even like taking things down to these general principles, and it's applicable in a lot of ways. I see a lot of naive young kids with unrealistic idealism trying to apply that unrealistic idealism to something they seem to have no understanding of. It's just like they're just so oblivious to the ways a lot of stuff really works. And so they really should not be opening their mouth. Like, if you don't know how a car works, you should not be suggesting, here's how we should fix it. It's like, what are you just throwing random stuff out there for? It's like, you sound stupid. If you don't know how a car works and you try to throw out ideas out to fix it, it's like, the people who actually understand how a car works are going to tell you, like, that's just dumb because it's not even applicable. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. That's what it is in the real world. There's people that understand stuff, and there's like young kids with all these unrealistic ideas, of how we should do this and do that. It's like, these people that actually understand how it works are just like, that is retarded. That is just a really bad idea. Like, it's reasonable criticism coming back at them because they're opening their mouths when they don't understand. Like, understand first. That's applicable in a lot of ways with a lot of people. A lot of people love open, like, it's usually the smartest person in the room that's listening the most. The smartest people are usually the people that listen, like, a lot, that take stuff in and learn. And usually they don't talk nearly as much as these loudmouth people sometimes that know the least, that are just talking and yapping and act like it's just stupid. It's like, dude, just people figure it out. Like, quit being dumb. Anyway, I think that principle or idea, I guess, just the generalization can be looked for, and maybe you can see it in different places and see maybe where you're doing or somebody else is doing it, and maybe just be like, look, man, like, this ain't, no. Just no. There's definitely a lot of that. These young naive kids, man, I think they've really, and they don't listen. They've been taught that these old people with wisdom, life experience, they don't know what they're talking about. It's like, dude, these people know the real world because they've experienced the real world. Like, these young kids that have been sheltered and stuff, they're the ones that are, but they've been taught all these other people, they're just old fashioned and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, they have a realistic understanding how stuff works. Quit being so arrogant with your young, naive self and pretending you know everything. Anyway, people need to listen more all around. That just helps in communication altogether. Just listen. A lot of people want to talk. All right, then listen and let them talk. All right, and then you'll start to understand stuff. Just listen, and if they keep talking, all right, be like, dude, I've been listening for a while. Now it's my turn to talk. Whatever. People need to listen more. A lot of people just yap to each other, and just that ain't it, man. That's just yapping. And nobody, it's like if you're just yapping and nobody's just receptive, it's like, well, y'all ain't even communicating. That's just barking, right, like stupid stuff. I think that's all I gotta say for now. I think that's a general principle that can be, considered, look for, like I said, and maybe kind of identify it here, there, maybe do what you can to troubleshoot it, and set things good, That's what I hope for. That being said, shout out to Boca Chica behind me. This little park right here, Isla Blanca. Everybody at SpaceX, trying to come up with their awesome Starship action. Hopefully this mug does a good test launch, lands, and glorious days are ahead. Let's get it. I'm out. That was a bad. Peace.